Hi, welcome back to the Weekend Show. You're now watching the lifestyle segment. We'll be talking about women's inclusion and advancement in their career paths. The lifestyle segment is brought to you by HoloCrunch.
Crunchy, yummy goodness.
Yum. Women breaking barriers in their chosen paths is on the rise. It's often said that we live in a man's world. However, we live in a society where patriarchy is the order of the day, which is true, but sometimes times and perspectives are changing as exceptional women who are breaking stereotypes to change their own lives and inspire other women and girls around them are emerging. Joining us in today's program to discuss this, we have
Anita Asoha. She is an actor, a comedian, and also the creator of School of Thought on YouTube, a new YouTube series, also popularly known as
The Real Worry Peking.
Yes! Welcome to the Weekend Show. Also my pleasure to welcome Udy Akpan, the Executive Director, Youth Alive Foundation. Welcome back to the Weekend Show.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure discussing this topic, very pertinent topic with you this morning. I'll start with you, Anita. You are actually in a very predominantly male-dominated field, but you've managed to excel. I was just telling you before we started the program how I am absolutely in love with all the comedy skits that you do. It's so organic, it comes to you naturally, it looks, and your message has been able to span through the entire country. People from different parts of the country are watching you, they are laughing to your comedy. How have you been able to scale this hurdle, this predominantly male-dominated field? How have you been able to carve a niche for yourself and excel?
Okay, so first of all, when I started, it wasn't easy at all. Being part of the world, this part of the world, and being a woman. Being a woman already in this industry is a disadvantage. It's already a disadvantage. So when I started, I got words like, "You be married woman. Close your mouth. You're too short for social media. Go face your marriage. Go cook for your children." I still get that, but based on the way I enter the industry, I shine my eye like Bejero right? Because I know that for you to stand out and be successful in an industry where it's dominated by men, you need to do extra. You need to make them believe that you are good, no sentiments and no sympathy. Like, now, woman, I'm not just laugh to a joke. You need to be deliberately funny. So what I did, I had to work on myself. I had to do training because I didn't used to do stand-up comedy before. I used to do like hosting, dance. I was in the entertainment industry before, but not comedy. So I had to work on myself, watch the videos. Sometimes I could just stand in front of my mirror. My children go, say, "Who are you talking to?" I dey work on myself. I don't go stage here. Maybe they all go laugh to my joke because I be woman. Just because you are funny. Maybe they laugh, say you are funny. So I started working on myself, learning a lot of things, unlearning, relearning. So I had to work on myself and work on my confidence. You just the kind of word they'll tell you, but you enter your share back. So all those things I get, all those backlash, bad comments, I use it as fuel to take fuel the hustle. So I feel like that is what has kept me, and that is what is keeping me. I focus like deaf, ahead. Anything they talk now, they know. Working on my craft, and I just become better every day.
Anita, not a lot of people know this, but you used to be a dancer. I think she was in Maltina Dance Hall or something. Let's cast you, let's pull you out. So Anita's journey has been a long one. I just heard people discussing about how she used to sell fabrics before. So there's literally almost nothing you've not
Hustler.
I mean, and
even attitude fair, I called you one time.
I know. And so it's important that people understand that it's a journey, and you've been through a major journey, different spaces, different fields to get to where you are today, and you're still pushing. But what do you feel are the barriers to entry for women in business in Nigeria? You've started by saying our culture and tradition, but what are other barriers to entry in entertainment and entrepreneurship for women in Nigeria that you've experienced?
Like I said, being married. Like, sometimes when you're a married woman, you just feel like there's all there is for you being married is just have kids and just focus on your home. So I just feel like sometimes if you are a woman and there are some things you want to achieve in life, don't just rush married. Everybody be like, "Keshuko, we go allow you." Being married is, in short, is number one. Married woman. You see, married woman, they dance for online. Yeah, they follow people, they start picture the hug men. Many things. Being a woman in this country is the disadvantage. Anything what you want to do. Even though you reach where you go, they'll say, I'm not put up for them. You know, so apart from what I said before now, another barrier for a woman in business or in the industry is being married.
And you see, a lot of people don't talk about that. That's why I find it, we make sure we talk about women's issues, particularly women's issues on this show, because we don't talk about that. A lot of our girls are taught that the major achievement, the main achievement for any woman is marriage. Right. You know, but we are also seeing from people like yourself who are in marriage that it's also a barrier to entry in succeeding in whatever career path that you want to. It could be a blessing, of course, because I'm sure it's been a blessing with a
in this part of the world. My next life I won't be man. There's no space for man. I'd rather be man for woman snake. So say you laugh. You don't be joking.
Oh my God, I think I'm going to laugh throughout this whole episode, so pardon me. So Udy, let me bring you in here because I saw you nodding as well, you know. So what other barriers of entry have women been able to scale through? Because yes, we have been able to excel in predominantly male fields like comedy, even in media. You know, what other barriers of entry have women been able to scale through, and what are some things that you've seen successful women do that other young women who are watching today can emulate, you know, if they want to succeed in their career path?
Yeah, listening to her, she's a good example of what scaling barriers. Okay, now I feel like we hear the glass ceiling, right? But for Nigeria, it's worse because it feels like there's a concrete slab before you get to the glass ceiling. And that's because of entrenched cultural programming that we go through as women from when we are born, in school, at home, in the system, and even in the laws. So we start from our default position is disempowering. And when you think of what empowerment means, it's about women having the right to define and make choices for their lives and even make impact in whatever field they find themselves. So for women in Nigeria, they start from a disempowered position. So first you have to rise up and break that initial barrier, which I think just because it's so much, the density of it, I'm calling it concrete. You have to overcome the perception that women cannot, because women are regulated from when they are born. You can't sit like this, you can't talk like this, you can't wear this, you are a girl. I mean, we were like, I grew up with sisters, and my brother could play till he was a teenager, but you are a girl, you don't behave like this. So girls in Nigeria and women are regulated from birth to when they are old. So deprogramming yourself, she said learning, unlearning, and relearning. And realizing that it is your right. I mean, some people have people around them that enforce and empower them, like supportive husband, like she mentioned hers, or parents who say you can do anything. My father was one that said, my girls can achieve the world, and gave us the best international education. But generally, most women have to fight through that and just basically fight for their rights and then reaffirm it. And then when you scale through that, you go into the workplace, you go into the system, those regulations persist. For example, I just found out some years ago when I went to police station, a woman cannot bail out somebody from the police station. If I have to go to a government building, I can't wear trousers, I have to wear a skirt and a dress. There's so many things in the laws, systemic things that regulate women. And just struggling through those barriers. And like she said, even marriage. You tend to see Nigerians have a perception that women who are successful and out there, who are married, that the men are weak. And it's wrong. Because they're actually the strongest men. Because they are confident enough to say, allow you to fly. And know that it does not emasculate them, it does not make them any less a man. And so all this, like she said about people saying you're a married woman, women are constantly being defined. And so to get through that, you have to be spectacular, like she is. Like people like Mo Abudu are, like people like Aisha Yusufu are. You have to be extraordinary to kind of like blow that concrete. And then you even talk about the glass ceiling. Because where we're starting from, it's a lot more. Glass seems fragile to where we need to go as women.
You know, talking about women breaking barriers, we've seen women do extremely well in Nigeria. Most recently, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. We've seen Omobola Johnson when she was Minister of Comms and Tech, and she's still doing a lot of women in, work with a lot of girls and women in technology. But I remember in secondary school talking about programming, when I was to go from JS3 to SS1, the teachers used to say arts class is a dumping ground for intellectual idiots. Arts class is a dumping ground for intellectual idiots, and it's a class for girls. This was a federal school in Nigeria. And so as a result of that, I wanted to do arts, for instance, but I chose commercial science initially just because that class had 60 girls and 5 boys, and the teachers kept on saying that. Now, regardless of the work which parents are now doing at home, you go to institutions where it's now decided that women can have only certain roles. Women can study only certain courses. What can we do to remove this institutional stereotypes now, which we have? Because a lot of work is being done at homes now. You have a supportive husband, you have a supportive father, but you leave the house, you still go to institutions where women are still being pushed down, and this affects them in the future. What can be done about that, especially in schools at secondary level?
You see, like it's like when a ship is going on course, you don't just turn it around, it's going to take a bit of time. But I think one of the most effective thing that affects women and inspires women when they go to work, they go to places and they still meet those institutions is representation, role models at the top. Women, they see women like themselves achieving stuff. And then that's empowering, that if she can do it, I can do it. I mean, you can imagine maybe, see Aisha Yusufu, the most iconic picture of the NSAS movement was her holding up her hand. Now think of the audacity of that image, that she's wearing hijab and she's a Muslim woman, and we know some of those cultural barriers to women. And then she's fighting out there. Now somebody that is exactly like her is going to look at her and say, I can do that. So I think representation, I think advocacy. That's why people like me are in the sector. We're trying to bring about systemic change. We're trying to ask for equality from government, from institutions. Advocacy, continued engagement, and what she's doing. This is the second time I've come on this show to talk about women issues. She's obviously passionate about it. So the more we give it volume in the public space, and the more we have role models, and then we do our work in advocacy and asking for change, I think we'll make an impact.
I completely agree. Advocacy is one thing I believe that is very underrated. You know, we feel like we talk, and we're not seeing any change. But the reality is that it is actually leading to some systemic change that, you know, we might not see immediately, but in the long run, it actually turns out to be something worthwhile. I mean, look at Goodluck Jonathan's cabinet. You know, I remember when people were advocating that they needed more women representation in the cabinet. Then today you have Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, who's the DG of the WTO, and things like this, it takes a long time, but it's systemic. And as you said, you know, eventually we're going to get to our, you know, promised land as women. Yeah. But I want to know, Anita, in bringing up children in this day and age, how do we start to work on their psyche, not just for the girl child, but also the boy child, because they have to coexist with them in this society? How do we start to work on their psyche that women leaders are needed? You cannot neglect 50% of the world's population and expect your country, your continent, or the world to develop, to grow, to advance. So how do we start to work on the psyche of the young?
First of all, the world that we're in right now is digital, not analog like our parents raised us, you know. So I have 3 kids, and I always tell them, you can be anything. Chidera, you can be anything, okay? Sometimes, I don't know what happened recently in school, Chidera came back and said, my teacher said I shouldn't put my hand in my pocket, but the AC was on, I was cold. And she goes, you're a girl, you don't do that. And I'm like, they don't start. They don't reach here. Even my son, sometimes they say, don't cry. He's emotional, make it cry. Feeling sad, happiness, they're emotions. So you should express it. I don't tell my son, you are a man, don't show weakness. No, I make man, they could die before woman. They look and say, the guy on your shares, the guy on your shares. No, no, so if we shake it at the heart, many bruises there inside. So the way I raise them is different from how they raised me. I tell them the truth. I make them, in as much as they are comfortable, I show them the reality. The reality. They need to know. All those the way they look for us, church, school, house. When they reach university, when they sit inside, they'll say, sure, that's what it be. You know, so I just feel like we should change the narrative. Parents and husbands should join the mothers. Not only woman, the trip, we pick it bad, they say, na mama. When they good, na papa. You know, so I feel like the world we're in now, the world, I make another born again. The world, you not get everything not the world, not get everything not the fee happen. So parents should come together, man, woman, and raise these kids well in the reality, open their eyes to see, raise them well. Not every time you go beat speaking, but pikin to do something. The reason why you do and shake them. Why are you lying to me? The reason why you lie, maybe they fear you. Create a psychological safety around them that they can tell you anything. My kids tell me anything. Anything and everything. Because I create this psychological safety. I don't judge them, you know, but then there are other ways. Apart from beating them, there are other options, you know. So I feel like it starts from the home, this foundation stage. So when they grow up, they'll know that they can be anything. A woman can be anything, a man can be anything, and then if all parents can do it for this our generation where they come up, so it will reduce.
But in this cultural context, so when you're raising Chidera and her siblings and you're telling them that, okay, you can achieve anything, you can be anything, then in this cultural context where we're still relegating women to certain roles and relegating men to certain roles, is how do we match what we're teaching our children at home with what we're teaching them in the institutions and in the world at large? You know, so for example, if you say to Chidera, okay, you can actually vie to be president in the future and you can get it, then your husband is like, I beg, let your brother do that, you know. So how do we balance that? How do we balance what we're teaching them personally in our homes, in our private, you know, spaces versus what is being taught to them in the world and what society is saying is okay?
Like I said already, the parents have to come together. So if they're coming together, they cannot tell me Ebube cannot be, Ebube can be a president, but Chidera can't. So me and Ikechukwu has to understand and be on the same ground, the same page, the same level, so we can raise them together. Not mommy saying something and daddy saying something. And then in the society / institution and government, they have a lot of work to do. I feel like they have to change a lot of things. They have to change a lot of things. A whole lot of things have to change. Like I was in a protest ground couple of months ago, and then I realized that there are some things, I don't want to just talk about it, but I'm like, so being a girl child in this country is disadvantage. Like, we not get level. We be like disposable couple if we shake away. You know what I'm saying? So a lot needs to change. The home, definitely, we have 100% control to raise these kids in our home. But then outside the home, the government needs to do something, institutions need to do something, and then role models like me are never ready to back at me. They never even start. I'm just getting warmed up. You know, so more role models need to come up, more advocacy, more awareness, and then the institution. It go hard though, because it don't do like that, but it go change one day because we did it, and God will keep us, go there our back like hunchback.
Udy, so according to a recent Forbes article, they said some of the challenges women experience in business, two which struck my attention. One, the gender pay gap is a big deal, especially I'm sure in Anita's industry she would have tons of stories in entertainment. The men are paid more than the women for doing the same job, and in some cases the women may even be better at that job. But beyond that, when the women become successful, another problem is timidity to blow their own trumpets, to hold their own flowers. Most women can't come out to talk about their achievements as much without being seen as proud. Someone on Twitter, a writer from Switzerland from South Africa called Dr. Okonjo Iweala very rude last week. And so once you now start showing your achievements and talking about it, it's either they say you're a rude person, you're a mean person, or you are proud. So I need you to talk to women on being able to blow their trumpet, talk about their achievements and all they have done.
You know, this particular one is not actually only a Nigerian problem.
Yeah.
It's a global thing. So that's how you have people like when Kamala Harris would laugh when she was going for campaigns or dance, they'll be like, she's too casual, she's not serious. But a man can get away with that. So this is more a global thing. And even the pay thing is a global thing as well. People pay women less. But I think it's about women standing up and fighting for their rights. If you know you are entitled, the same person in this post you are taking up earned X amount of money, you have to make the case that you have to earn the same amount of money. And then women need to be willing to speak out. You see, we have been programmed not to speak out. So you could go to the media, you could make a noise, you could call them out and they would pay you that amount. But we've been programmed, just take what you've been given. And I think what women, to your question, what should women do, is to fight for your rights. It is your rights. And you can speak out against it. Like some of the things that happen in Nigeria, women don't want to talk about. Because when she talks, the perception she's a loose woman, she's a bad woman, she's this and she's that. But women can redefine that. Women can begin to change that narrative by showing that while you have integrity, you know your rights. Go out and speak what you're entitled to. There's nothing wrong with coming on a show like this or saying on social media or tweets about it. Tweets about the unequal pay gap between men and women. Raise awareness about it. And most organizations don't want bad publicity. They'll probably give you what you want. But women are not, and it's a good point that you made. Women need to take action. There's something about taking action. I'm writing a book about women taking action. It's not enough to feel cheated. You have to take action. You have to do something about it. And that's my advice to women, that they need to do something about it.
I love that. And you? Yes.
I'm just hearing that for the first time. In the industry where I'm in, I determine my pay because I know who I be. I be pride, I know who I be. And I have my rate card. Sometimes when some agency calls, I say, why is your rate card higher than other influencers? I say, I'm not just an influencer, I'm a brand. How you sell yourself. The name when you call your dog, now they call her for her side. Yeah. Call her bingo, they call her bingo. I am real worry picking. I am not just an influencer. I am more. Okay, so they'll say, your followers is just 1.8 million. People that are they are charging less. I say that's because it's not them. So like she said, take charge. My rate card, I know they go down. If you're not fit, move to the person who you feel afford. So last, that the way you take care of yourself. If you know your onion, you know say that position where you did, nobody fit do one pass you. Put your rate. They cannot afford you. If you want to bend because okay, maybe you want just support the brand, then you can do that. But to now have this unequal pay because there are men and there are women. Now, except now woman we don't know is safe. It doesn't work for me like that. I have my rate card, and when you're asking me, why are you charging 1.5? Why are you charging 2 million? I'll give you the reason. And after I give you the reason finish, now once you concur, say, oh, not true. So apart from just getting your price tag, you have to be that. You have to like deserve it.
I love that. Anita, Udy, thank you so much for your time. This has been very enlightening. I'm sure a lot of women, a lot of girls who are watching are completely inspired by your work, your audaciousness, the way you are, the way you speak up, because most times women are told don't speak, don't be too loud, be this, be that, and you have come out to defy that. You, through your advocacy, you've come out to defy that. And as you said, women need to continue to see this representation on their television screens, in their social media, on the streets, campaigning. So both of you are doing phenomenal work, and I want to really appreciate you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We'll take a short break right now. When we return, more on The Weekend Show. Don't forget, all clips, all episodes can be watched on our website, www.tostvnetwork.com. Follow us on social media at Weekend Show NG on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter to get involved in this live chat. Don't go anywhere. The sports segment is coming up next.